Let's get started. Hey, welcome to Tech Career Chat. My name is Brandon. I'm going to be playing some Mario 3. I'm going to be answering any of the questions about technology that the audience might have. This is the first game that I've ever played in my life many years ago. And I'm hoping to do a Warpless run, but we'll see how it goes. So, as per usual, if you have any questions about technology, programming, hardware, cloud security, etc., I'd be happy to answer them while I play this game. This is kind of my way of giving office hours to some of my students for free, and an excuse to play some of my favorite games. This game's got a lot of interesting Easter eggs and oddities to it, a lot of very underutilized sprites. I know that there was a huge Nintendo leak that showed off additional resources associated with many of the games in the Mario series. I don't know if I saw any with Mario 3 in particular. I think most of them were Mario World related. But in this game, one thing that comes to mind that's like crazy is that there's a way to generate a sprite for the Hammer Brothers suit, sliding down a hill, even though it's impossible to initiate that action while you have that item. It's one of the restrictions of that item. So, what am I going to do? I think I'm going to get the warp pipe and probably not use it, but just get it just in case. You know, if I'm doing really terribly at, let's say level 3, which is the bane of my existence, I can get past that. Also beats this level faster. For those who were not around for it, there was this movie, The Wizard, that featured Mario 3. It was the first time that Mario 3 was discussed in the United States. And it was kind of ridiculous because the prodigy in the movie was able to find that warp pipe the first time they ever played that game. And it's not obvious in the slightest that there's a warp pipe there. I mean, it's kind of odd. You know, I think it stands out visually, but, you know, it's not something that someone would naturally just decide to do. Okay, I'm gonna fly up there and get a warp pipe. Not really realistic for, you know, the first time you're playing the game. You know, the pressure's on. Seems kind of unrealistic. So I first played this game when I was quite young. I believe it was on my third birthday. I got actually a hand-me-down Nintendo Entertainment System and this game. And I actually didn't really like video games that much when I first started, was introduced to them. They kind of freaked me out because I didn't understand the, you know, concept of playing as a character, and I legitimately got scared whenever I would die in the game. I would think that, oh, it's going to physically affect me because, you know, I was a child and have the ability to, you know, abstract away from that. So, it's kind of shocking that I ended up being such a gamer afterward, considering the fact that I did not immediately like it. In fact, I was literally afraid of it. Afraid of gaming at first. And then for that to inspire my career is, you know, even crazier. So for those who may be new to the channel, I got into programming because of video games. I wanted to make a video game, and for that reason, I For that reason, I learned how to program using a program called Mark Overmars' Game Maker, and from there I learned some other skills. So I was much more serious into gaming than I was in technology. One led to the other. I really feel like I jumped on that cannonball, but maybe I missed it. So, as far as developments in my career and my job, this week has been a pretty big one. My first published course just finished being processed. I'm going to be teaching it for the first time in 16 days, and I'm really looking forward to it. I also am creating some promotional material for it now, and that was a decent amount of work itself, but hopefully we should have a poster, some cheat sheets. I just published a blog for it, but hopefully some nice free content for the community and an enticement to take the actual course. I'll promote them again. I always promote them, but if you're interested in free cybersecurity resources, the group that I work with, the SANS Institute, has a lot of awesome free resources at sans.org/free. So definitely check them out. And if you check out our blog, I believe one of the latest posts is the post that I made about the course that I have just authored. Give a little bit of a preview of what that's all about. So how's everybody doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? So, I mentioned this on an earlier stream. I'm not sure which one, but I believe someone asked me about creating games. What kind of game is easier to make, an RPG or a platformer? And my first answer to that was, well, there's a lot more tools for developing RPGs than there are for making platformers. I mean, there isn't really a game or like a really popular game engine out there that you can build generic platformers off of. Whereas with, RPG Maker, you can literally make an RPG using certain building blocks. So, objectively, with the tools that we have, I think RPGs are easier to make. But in addition to that, I think they're also... did I say RPGs are harder to make? I meant to say RPGs are easier to make, platformers are hard to make. Maybe I said that already, but it's hard to pay attention when you're playing games. But in addition to that, I think it's genuinely more difficult to program a platformer engine anyway, because when you have to think about gravity and you have to think about physics, collision detection, etc., that's no joke. And you can see that even in professional games like Mario 3, like I'm playing right now. I don't have any examples I'm going to probably demonstrate in this particular run, but you can literally glitch into a wall, and the game will try to eject you from that wall by pushing you to the other side, and there's a really impressive time-saving technique on the final level of this game that utilizes that, where you are able to skip half the level by clipping through a wall and then being ejected from that wall on the other side. So when you think about it, I mean, usually these characters are moving more than 1 pixel per frame, you know? And how do you detect a collision in in order to make sure that they don't go past the wall if they're moving more than 1 pixel per frame. The answer is basically, when it's close enough to call, the game will push you out of the wall. They do that in Mario, they do that with Sonic especially, because Sonic is so fast. They're going way faster than 1 pixel per frame. So if you hit the wall and you go over the boundary, it'll push you to one side or the other. And usually it's so small that you can't really notice, but you can notice it in some cases when people who know what they're doing exploit it fully. So, I mean, that's difficult. Even preventing you from going through the floor with gravity is difficult as well. You know, there's a lot of complications with developing platformers. So I definitely think it's one of the harder types of games to develop, but it's also one of the most fun games to develop. I mean, you know, crisp platformers, in my opinion, are the best genre of game that there is. You know, probably I have some familiarity bias. It's the kind of game that I grew up with, but nonetheless, it's my personal opinion. And therefore, I really liked making those kind of games. Oh, I'm doing terribly. I think there's a mushroom there. I'm not... Well, I'll never know. So, I'm just gonna fight this guy. Okay, there we go. I always found it interesting that they always spawn the treasure chest as far away from you as possible. So if you're over to the left, it's gonna spawn the right, and then vice versa. But yeah, most of the games that I tried to make when I was younger were platformers because they were just the kind of game that interested me the most. That being said, they were difficult, and as a result, a lot of the games that I developed were just not very good because it's really hard to get those physics to be crisp and to be consistent. I'm sure a lot of people who've tried game development can relate. There's only a few that have really, you know, done it very well. Relatively speaking of, at least the hobbyists. I mean, the game engines, or the game developers out there that are serious, you know, the ones that have been doing it for a long time, they've made some amazing indie games that are platform-based, but it's hard to just do that as a hobby, especially when you're young. So, RPGs are a much easier thing to start with, because of the engines that you have available. I don't know why I keep accidentally pressing the B button there. What's here? I think there may be another warp pipe and then like the frog suit or something. I'm pretty sure regardless of what box I pick here, it's gonna be the frog suit. Awesome, I love the frog suit. It's my favorite power-up. It's so wacky. There's a tool-assisted... I guess if I hold B when I'm going back to the overworld, it's gonna automatically open up that menu. There's actually a tool-assisted speedrun out there of someone just beating the game with the frog suit, and they get the frog suit immediately using a hack, which is kind of cool. And the more that you get involved with game development or with game modification or game analysis, tool-assisted speedruns, etc., the more it becomes kind of clear why those game genies or those, what are the other ones? Game genies, game sharks, all those cheating devices, why they became so popular, and you know there were so many of them, is that they're kind of simple. All they're really doing is they're modifying, you know, maybe one memory address, saying, you know, what is the initial state of Mario? That's not particularly difficult to program in, relatively speaking. Making slight modifications to the game is something that I think anybody can really do. So one thing that I would recommend for folks who are interested is you can, without doing like full game mods, you can make minor modifications to games just by, for example, using the Memory Explorer in multiple types of emulators. You can not only look at the memory addresses, but also make modifications to them and see how these modifications affect the game. And it's, you know, a lot of fun to just experiment with that. I wish I understood how to do that when I was younger. I kind of learned that skill a little bit later on. But, you know, it's kind of fun to experiment with. Of course, there are also, you know, tens of thousands, if not millions of addresses, so not every modification is going to do anything interesting, but it's fun to experiment. There's also a YouTuber out there that I believe basically what their shtick is they have this corruption script that basically modifies the ROM in similar ways to how I'm describing it automatically, and they play through the game in its corrupted fashion. Sometimes it's just randomizing the game, sometimes it's glitching it out substantially. But they oftentimes will find interesting behaviors of the game through that process. I believe the creator is Vinesauce. It's not Vsauce, but I think they have a very similar name. So something to check out. Not all of it's interesting, but a lot of it is. That's what happens when you make random modifications. Some of them are going to be meaningful. Some of them are going to be completely meaningless. So this world can be a little frustrating with all the underwater levels and also the giant fish that kill you instantly. But, it's a fun challenge, I suppose. What's down here? I completely forget. Maybe a one-up? No, fire flower. Okay, cool. So for those who are joining us, this is Tech Career Chat. This is the stream where I play games and answer people's questions about technology. If you're here just for the gaming, it's totally fine. You don't have to be interested in programming or technology in any way or form, or maybe you're a seasoned veteran in technology and it's not valuable for you to, ask questions, but you can also just have a conversation. You can just put in the chat, something that you've experienced, and maybe I can share my insights. And this is terrible what I'm doing right now. Absolutely terrible. Okay, let's try that again. But yeah, I'd love to hear, what's going on if you're in one particular career, you're trying to make a pivot. A lot of people are trying to get into programming right now. It's, one of those jobs that you can do from home, with a limited amount of education and can be done without, necessarily formal education. So, obviously it helps, but it's not, mandatory like, you can't learn how to be a doctor on the computer. Why am I doing this to myself? This is terrible. So if you have anything you'd like to discuss, just throw it in the chat and I'll discuss it on stream. More frog suits. Excellent. You know what? Let's use one of them. Why not? Let's just have fun with it. Whoops. Oh, goodness. way better than I expected. Let's see if I can do the castle with my limited mobility. Okay. Which door is it? I think it's the 4th door, or the 4th... I'm thinking it's the 4th door, but I'm not positive. Okay, maybe the 5th? Let's try the 5th. Okay, not that. But I get to go back. Oh no! What will I do without my frog suit? So, funnily enough, I think my most popular video on YouTube happens to be a Super Mario 3 tool-assisted speedrun that I encoded for, I believe it was A. Delicat, one of the administrators of taskvideos.org, Tampa, I think there's one other individual at least, and that video is nearing 1 million views, which is kind of nice, but I'm hoping that this kind of content gets the same kind of attention, because I do really believe that, you know, gaming can be an inspiration to a lot of folks in terms of getting into technology field. Oh, there we go. I mentioned on my last stream about auto scrollers and speedruns. Like, how do you make something like this entertaining? And yeah, the answer you can find on YouTube. You can find people messing around with these auto scrollers, including in the video that I just mentioned. They can do unbelievably impressive things, whereas, you know, I'm just trying to, you know, stay on here for my life. Another thing that I found that was interesting, I'm trying to remember where I saw it, but there was a video that I saw of someone playing these auto-scrollers without auto-scrolling enabled. So basically, what that would mean is that it would be the same exact level, but you controlled the camera. The game did not scroll the camera progressively. And that level in particular wasn't super entertaining in that way, but the later auto-scrollers, the one with the tanks, that was really interesting to see someone just blast through those levels. It was quite cool. I assumed that they were going to turn around, but I guess I made a mistake. I don't want to use any of those items. I'm just going to keep going. Maybe I made a mistake. I find it really interesting. I think they introduced that character to a recent Mario Party game. I believe it's called Spike, and it was such a random character to add, but the way that they reimagined them, very interesting. I definitely should have used an item. Okay. That was lucky. Cool. Now I get to use the frog suit unironically. So one interesting thing related to this game, more specifically some remakes of this game, did anybody have an e-reader during the Game Boy Advance era? Because that was a really interesting piece of technology, a really interesting concept. And what I thought was cool about it is that for the Super Mario 3 remake, I believe it was Super Mario Advance 4, oddly enough. Because let me try to remember. So Super Mario Advance 1 was Mario 2. Super Mario Advance 2 was Mario World. 3 was Yoshi's Island, I believe. I'm hopeless. And then I believe 4 was Super Mario Bros. 3. But they had an extension with the e-reader that allowed you to get additional items and additional levels using the e-reader. So these were these little trading cards, basically, that you would scan into a cartridge that you plugged in called the e-reader, and it would give you additional content. I thought it was really cool, and you know, the technology was also kind of interesting. I mean, it was you know, designed to theoretically read any data in, so you had to be able to print arbitrary data on these cards. They had these little barcodes, and I wonder how much work has been done to decode what's on those barcodes, because I bet there's, you know, quite a bit of information that's stored on there in order for, you know, the e-reader to come out with no information of the software that was going to be created for it, and for those cards to hold arbitrary data. I mean, obviously, for Super Mario 3's sake, they almost certainly programmed in levels, and they had those cards unlock those levels, but for things like the Animal Crossing trading cards, for example, I mean, you had to encode quite a bit of data on there, I'm sure, to just, like, you know, get the information on a given animal in a village. And there was also a Mario Party e-reader game, which was kind of cool, where you could play Mario Party on your Game Boy, and there was an element of using the cards to play the game. I think Did You Know Gaming did a video of it recently, and they're like, did you know about this obscure e-reader game that, you know, had all these interesting attributes? I'm like, obscure? I owned that thing. Didn't a lot of people? I don't know. Maybe it was not a big seller, but I got it pretty soon after it came out, if I recall correctly. What's interesting, if you've watched some Mario 3 speedruns in particular, you might notice that a lot of people try to avoid getting three-of-a-kind cards at the end of the level. And the reason for that is because the animation there takes quite a bit of time to see, you know, the firework form whatever item you got, and then for it to count off 1 life, 2 life, 3 lives, 4 lives. That's a lot more time consuming than, for example, just getting 1 life by not having any matches. So I'm just playing around. I'm not really speedrunning here, but if I was trying to beat a particular time, I'd be failing pretty miserably considering how many inexcusable deaths I've had thus far. But 2, I would be trying to avoid getting those matches. Hey, how's it going, Town Oasis? Ugh. Despite being fairly difficult, relatively speaking, I always thought Wendy was the coolest Koopa kid. I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Just chilling on a Saturday. Playing one of my favorite games, classic from my childhood. I'm dying a lot more than I definitely did in the past, though. That's the unfortunate thing. I used to be much better at games when I played them all the time. What a surprise, right? I need to stop doing that because she always throws. Every time she gets hit, she throws something. So I have to stop trying to... I really don't want to use the P-Wing. I just can't. I can't. I'm going to try to be patient this time and not freak out. And hopefully we'll have good results there. Because, you know, I'm literally doing this to myself. My impatience is what's killing me. Great example. Okay, at least I can go to the mushroom house now. I don't remember Wendy, like how she differed in Super Mario World. Yes, I have the frog suit. That's going to be incredibly helpful for this fight right here. Alright, let's also take on this guy. Not as useful. Let's do this with the frog suit. Let's go. Oh, I do remember that actually, yeah. The dummy characters that she spawns in Super Mario World, yeah. Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh. now. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm being patient now. Yeah, if you're patient, she's easy. It's just, you know, the initial freak out of, you know, oh, I gotta attack them as fast as possible. That's my problem, is I'm just impatient. But cool. We got past probably one of the harder worlds. I think 7's harder than 3, but I think 3's probably the second most difficult for me. Oh, wrong pipe. So, for... Oh, I guess that generated. Cool. Let's see. Wow. Nope. Okay. So, for those who are watching, if you have any particular games that you'd like me to play next, I'm kind of running out of games that I wanted to play on stream, for sure at least. What kind of franchises haven't I done? I've done one of Mega Man, of Zelda, of Mario. I might play the original Ninja Gaiden games, but, you know, clearly my proficiency at gaming has gotten worse, so that might not be a great idea to do without rehearsing. But I really don't want to rehearse. Because I'm impatient. And I don't have much time. I think World 4 is definitely my favorite, especially that one level near the end where you can go through those doors and change up the sizes of the characters. I think that's quite ingenious. And it probably didn't require much effort just to, you know, say, hey, when you go through this door, you know, change them from big to small. Probably a pretty trivial thing to develop, and yet, you know, so memorable. One more game that I definitely have on my list is I have to round out the Super Nintendo Mega Man X trilogy. So I don't know when I'm going to do that, but at some point I'm definitely going to beat Mega Man X3 for the Super Nintendo, because I can't leave that saga incomplete. For those who didn't see it, I believe on Tuesday of this week, I decided to play Mega Man X2, and it was going pretty well until the final level, which took me about 2 hours to beat. So half the playthrough, literally half the playthrough, if not more than half the playthrough, was me just fighting Sigma over and over and over again, as well as Zero. You know, Zero, I remember him being a lot more difficult, but, you know, nowadays he's just repetitive. He does the same attack over and over again, and you have to dodge it really precisely, but if you get the rhythm down, you're going to dodge it every time. So, and for those who are interested in seeing any video that I do that I, choose to upload, usually the ones on Saturdays as well as maybe some other ones, you can check it out on my YouTube channel. I will have archived it in full resolution, full frames, a little bit better quality than you'll see here on the VOD on Twitch. I figured out what was wrong with my frame rate last Saturday. Unfortunately, my solution for the frame rate is to make my screen really small. Makes it a little bit harder to play, but it's not intolerable. So, if anybody's an OBS whiz and knows how to, knows a better solution, I'm definitely open-minded. I completely forgot where all the cards were, so let's see what happens. Star? Was there one here? No, that was a flower. Star, obviously. And we didn't see any one-ups yet, so... Here? Nope. Walked right into that hammer. Okay, it's either level 5 or level 6 that has the really cool mechanic. I think it's 5? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. Such a memorable level. Right? No, maybe this level's memorable for, because of the bullet bills that seek after you. I might be misremembering which one it is. Yeah, this is not the one I'm referring to. It must be level 6 then. I could have sworn in that level, though, there's a Koopa, or what's the word? Paratroopa? What's the one with the wings? I think it's Paratroopa, going down some stairs. It must be this one. Yeah, see that door there? Check this out. Oh, now they're small. What? Mind-blowing as a kid. Could have sworn I pressed left there. Let's try using the mushroom here. It might help. What are you barking about, puppies? So, real question about this game, for those who played it before. Did anybody actually use the Tanuki suit for anything other than the abilities that the leaf already gets you? Because I know you can turn into stone and, you know, enemies ignore you and all that, but, like, was it ever really practical to do that? Was it ever really useful? It really wasn't useful for me. I just did it for the novelty. There we go. Oh, I didn't know you could jump, I didn't even do that on purpose. That's kind of cool. I'm frozen in the jumping position there. I wasn't paying attention there. I really like how this world is broken into two different parts. Kind of interesting. A couple people have asked me in the past about the 8-bit icon that I have on this chat and in a lot of the marketing for the Twitch stream. I actually got that through this competition, the security competition I did a year ago. So there's this group called Security Innovations Incorporated, and they do capture the flag events, some security-based cyber ranges. And basically your goal is to hack the website as efficiently and as quickly as possible, more so than the other people in the competition. And they have an 8-bit aesthetic. All of their mascots are 8-bit, so the winner of the competition would get a pixelated version of themselves. So I use this for everything. I love it. I am not that artistically talented that I created it myself. I really wish I was. The only thing that I did with it is the original version had the skin tone and the hair tone a lot more cartoony. What I ended up doing was I took the picture and I recolored it based on an actual picture of me. So the skin, hair, beard color is different than the hair because that's how I am in real life. I'm kind of a ginger beard and brown hair. I recolored the 8-bit sprite to use the actual skin tones and hair tones. So that's the extent of my artistic ability, is making modifications to other people's work. But one thing that's interesting about that particular competition is during the competition, I actually found a 0 day in their platform. So for those who don't know much about cybersecurity, a 0 day is an issue that comes out, that is discovered as soon, it's discovered on the outside, I think is a better way to describe it. So the person who's doing the exploit did not learn it from, responsible disclosure of the bug. They discovered it, and it had some serious implications that the company was not aware of. So fortunately, I'm going to be able to do a blog post about it soon. I'll definitely want to share it with the community once I do. But the gist of what happened is this site purposefully had vulnerabilities. The goal of the cyber range was to allow you to hack this website. But there are certain things that even in the context of a cyber range, you never want to allow. One of those things is the disclosure of source code, right? Because if I am able to get the source code for your cyber range, well, now I can run this competition that you're running, and I can make money off of it instead of you. I mean, this is a website that someone developed, with a lot of experience. I mean, it was a huge investment that they worked on this website for. So if I was able to get the cyber range and release the material to the public such that people could run their own range, that might have, 5, if not 6 figures worth of damage associated with it. So clearly that's not a good thing to happen. So what happened, which was kind of cool, is that I found that there was a way to get the backend source code through a series of different exploits that were never meant to be chained together. So basically, the core problem is that this site was called InstaFriends. You can look it up. They have public information about it. It's you can't play it randomly, but they have public instances of the game that you can play, sometimes throughout the year, or your company can pay for private training. So this was a part of the March Hackness event last year. So they have pretty much quarterly events where people can hack a website, without paying and just enjoy the work they put into the platform. So this InstaFriends website allowed you to share pictures with your friends, just like Instagram. So it's basically a Facebook/Instagram parody. And the way it worked is that you'd upload an image, and then that image would be renamed to something. So let's say you uploaded a PNG, it would turn into some universally unique identifier, or a UUID.png. And then what would happen is you'd be able to load the image by accessing, let's say, the website /images/ the user's ID. And it would load that image from the file system, and it would display it in your browser. The problem is this also... Hey, Ocean Haze. This website also had a Sql injection vulnerability. So for those who are not familiar with Sql injections, that's basically when you run a query against a database that the developer did not want you to run. So it's where you trick the application into treating your user input as if it was part of a database query. That's basically what happens. So the end result is that if you have a Sql injection vulnerability, you can run arbitrary commands on a database. So, okay, that sounds interesting, but by itself, it doesn't do much, right? I mean, there are some databases that support arbitrary command injection. There's some databases that allow you to include files, but as far as I know, the version of the database that they were using did not have that functionality. So, okay, that's not going to do me much justice. Okay, sure. But the thing that happened was we realized we could modify that database to include an arbitrary file. So instead of loading some ID some ID.png, we could change a user's profile picture to // password. And for those who are not familiar, that is a common way of loading the etc password file using a relative path. And that etc password file contains all of the usernames and, in some cases, password hashes of the Linux users. Now, in modern systems, we don't store our password hashes in etc password because etc password is a world readable file, whereas etc shadow is not a world readable file. Okay. I see that there are some comments saying I'm going a little bit too fast. So I, first of all, apologize. Would you like to mention a specific thing I can revisit? The amount of // doesn't matter. What // means is to go up one directory. So let's say you're trying to load files from an images directory, just to be an arbitrary example. If you wanted to go to the directory above that directory, you do // and then you try to access a file in that folder. So, okay, if you chain that together, you can go up multiple directories. So if you go // you're going further and further up the chain. And unfortunately for them, when you do multiple // there's no real limit to the amount of // you can put there. If you put infinity // it's going to put you in the root directory. Awesome. Glad you're a student in Joseph's class. I actually referred Joseph to that job, and I'm really glad that he got it, because he's a great guy, really smart, has a lot of awesome things to share. So I hope that you've been having a good time in the class thus far. So the end result is now I can include any file from the file system. The etc password file by itself, not superbly useful, because again, the password hashes aren't actually there, so I only know the users on the system, and more importantly, they did not expose their SSH password, or their SSH port, I mean, to the entire world, so I can't even try to log in to, their system. But what this demonstrated is that I could load an arbitrary file that was readable by the web application user, and I could have that file be delivered to the application itself, as if it was a logo. Okay, so that's a pretty powerful thing. If I can find the directory, well, I would only need permissions on the website, because think about it this way. The website is, I don't know if you heard the introduction, so I'm happy to reiterate some of this. The website is loading images for users, and I found a Sql injection vulnerability that lets me change what that image file is, what the path it's going to load is. So as long as I'm able to perform that attack, I hate this level. As long as I'm able to perform that attack, I'm able to get arbitrary files off the system, as long as the application user is able to read that file. Yes, it's via Sql injection. So, you know, there's still some limitations, right? Because the file is being included by the application. The application is reading the file off the file system. The Sql injection is allowing me to determine what file is read. So both of those things have to line up. The application needs to be able to read the file, and I need to be able to set that file to the SQL database. Now, the problem is I don't know where this application's code is. I have no idea. So we created a script that would repeat this attack over and over and over again with some known files on the file system. It turns out that if you go to a directory called, I believe it's /proc/fs, or is it /fs/proc? I think it's /proc/self, and then /something else. Those are files that give you information about the currently running process. So /proc/self is a symbolic link to the process folder of the currently running application. So therefore, if I load /proc/self/command line, I think is the full file path, it's going to tell me what command was executed in order to start up this application. Well, guess what? That command is going to tell me what file actually has the application. And in this case, it was a Java jar file. Now, you might be saying, okay, well, but Java's compiled. You can't get any information out of a Java file, right? No, there are decompilers for Java, and they're pretty good. And as a result, we were able to download that file via the same mechanism as before, decompile the file, and lo and behold, we had the source code for this challenge. So this was a pretty proud moment, because we were, you know, it was me and two other folks. We were able to take advantage of an exploit that a security company that does security all day, every day, was unable to find themselves, or at least they didn't think about it. You know, and that's understandable. Like, I'm a security professional. I make security mistakes all the time. I'm not trying to shame them in any way, shape, or form. But, you know, for us, and we were mostly developers at the time, to take that information, the limited information we had, to thwart, to find an issue with an application developed by a security company, that's kind of a big deal, and we were very proud of it. We responsibly disclosed it. We showed them the issue. They fixed it immediately. We told them, you know, how to fix it possibly, and then we deleted the files from our file system. But in exchange, I got a cool 8-bit avatar from them. So I can't complain. It was a worthwhile trade for me. So a lot of people do not like ice levels, and I don't understand this. I think ice levels are kind of cool. I think water levels are not very fun, but ice levels add some interesting physics, and, you know, it's difficult. It can be frustrating. But World 6 is definitely, you know, it's definitely up there for me. It's definitely one of my favorite levels. I think World 4 is definitely my favorite, but I think World 6 is probably my second favorite. A lot of people might be confused and wondering how in the world can you think that, but that's just my opinion. And I love how I didn't even do the trick to get the stars, and I got the stars anyway. Nice. So we didn't CD into, we did not, you can go into the root directory without permissions, but you can't read files from the root directory. Like, you can create a path that starts at the root and then goes down without having permissions to read the contents of the root directory. We read a file that is world readable, etc password, and the reason why etc password is world readable is because a lot of applications need to be able to figure out the users on the system in order to function. That's why they split up the etc password and the etc shadow files, because etc password is there to show you what users exist. etc password takes that and goes the next step forward to say, hey, you can actually authenticate with this file alone by using the password hashes in that file. Did I ever play Commander Keen on MS-DOS or XP? I know what you're talking. Oh my goodness, that was awful. I know what you're talking about. I've seen that character before, but I have not personally played it. I should give it a shot at some point, though. I think there's... Yes. Nope. I already looked at both of those cards. Oh, hey! Isn't this a flower? Yep, so flower, flower. 10... No, 10's over here. Okay. Star, star. 1 up, 1 up. 20 coin, 20 coin? And... mushroom, mushroom. Awesome. Okay. What week of class are you in, by the way, Ocean Haze, for Joseph's cohort? I know you all have to be... What am I doing? I know you have to be pretty far along. Oh yeah, no, I'm familiar with Commander Keen, I've just never played it before. And by the way, just letting you know in advance, there's like a 30 or more second delay between the video and reality, so I apologize if I do not respond immediately to things that you think. Week 14, so you're a little bit over halfway there. That's awesome. I'm honestly surprised that Joseph has not needed me to substitute yet, just because, 24 weeks is quite a slog. But I might end up subbing for him if he ever needs it. Web application penetration testing is my favorite subject in all of cybersecurity, if you couldn't tell based on the previous story that I mentioned. Yeah, I was in a class with Joseph, SAN Sec 542, the web application penetration testing class. Are the dogs freaking out? Are the dogs freaking out? Okay. I guess one of my dogs ran upstairs. Oh yeah, yeah. He's got a passion for teaching. He's also got a passion for learning. I've helped out a couple times with some concepts with web application stuff. He's a lot more familiar with the hardware and networking side than I am, and I'm a little bit more familiar with the web side of the equation. So we've shared a lot of notes together, and we had some really valuable conversations through the process. He also was in a Sec 540 class, SAN Sec 540, Cloud Security and DevOps Automation, which I teach, and I was doing a partial co-teach for that class because I was getting involved with the SAN's instructor development program. So I taught approximately 25% of that class, and my boss taught the other 75%, and Joseph was in my first SAN's class ever. So that was also nice. Had a lot of great questions to keep the class going. So, as someone who's been involved with both programs, I've said this before, I'll say it again, is the Trilogy cybersecurity program is pretty awesome for people who are first getting to the game. But if you find yourself, in a job in cybersecurity one day and you want to take it to the next step, and your employer is willing to sponsor it, I personally think that SANS, is unrivaled in terms of the material that it has, the labs it has, the community that it's built. But it's also way more expensive, so it's not something I would necessarily recommend someone who's trying to get their foot in the door in a technology firm, because, most people who take SANS courses are at least partially sponsored by their employer. They want them to, learn a new skill. It's just, it's a different clientele, and I think we serve somewhat different audiences, but, I definitely value what they both bring to the picture. So I'd be happy to answer any of the questions that you might have about that landscape if you're looking into what's next for you in your cybersecurity education. I love how poorly I did with that puzzle, by the way. There's one of my favorite clips from the Game Grumps is when Aaron says he's gonna nail one of those puzzles and then gets a star and then a fire flower and then a mushroom. And the way that Danny says it sounds like he's saying Star Platinum, the character from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So it's kind of hilarious to me. I've been really into that series lately, like I think many people have been. During the global world event that we're going through. Yeah, interviewing advice for an entry-level position. I've mentioned this before, and I'll say it again as well, is that I do not have the best advice for people who are trying to get into the security field with no experience in another field. So I am a security person full-time now, but I came from a developer background. So the types of jobs that I was interviewing for were just fundamentally different and required different skill sets. So my advice you should absolutely take with a grain of salt for that reason. That being said, I can happily give general advice to people, seeking a new career, because, I've certainly been there before, getting into the development world myself. And the first thing that I say all the time is you absolutely want to have a one-page resume. I think anybody who has more than a one-page resume for their first job in the industry is making a horrible mistake. You do not have enough experience to put on 2 pages. Period. I don't have enough experience to put on 2 pages. And I've been working as a developer. Oh my goodness. I've been a developer, who's... maybe didn't have formal training for this long, but I have been, what am I doing? I have been doing programming jobs for about 12 years now, 12, 13 years. So, it just, that's my first piece of advice. I'm going insane. I can't believe how many times I'm going to let them take away my leaf here. Okay, I'm reading your message now so I can give you more details. Networking is a good position that can then pivot to security. There's also positions that are, let's say in between, like a security operations center job. I feel like might be one that is viable for you as well. I am quite losing my mind right now. So I think that's definitely one option that you have is a security operations center job. So, oh my goodness, if you hit me again, oh my goodness. And when I say lower, I just mean application security is definitely a job that is going to be difficult for you to get into. It requires you to have application development experience. I might need to focus for a minute while I, continue to flounder. I mean, this is just absurd. So sysadmin related tasks I definitely think are more viable. That doesn't mean they're the only viable one, and it's not for me to say that sysadmin work is lower importance. It just simply requires less additional experience. Like, to be a good application security person, I would not hire someone in application security who is not a developer by trade. I just wouldn't do it, because it's really hard to give people advice in how to make applications secure if you have never written one in your life. I mean, how do you give that kind of advice? Oh. Am I just misremembering how to do this level? Because I know, I'm doing a terrible job, but, like, I can't be doing that terrible of a job. Thank goodness. Oh, is this not the right area? Oh, no. Did I go to the wrong area? Oh, no. Oh, wait, by lower you mean hardware related. Yeah, I think hardware and networking are definitely better first steps forward. And sorry for my presumption that you meant lower in terms of job stature. Oh, so here it is. That explains why I've been floundering so much, is that it's so much easier to go up there. So... yeah. It's kind of odd, honestly, in technology, because when we say lower level in terms of programming, we're actually meaning the more difficult programming languages. Like C++ is a low-level programming language. Assembly is obviously the lowest level that there is. I guess it's because it's closer to the hardware. I guess that's how most people interpret that term in the industry. But yeah. I don't have nearly as much experience in terms of the career path for people who are coming from a non-technical field into cybersecurity, but I would definitely say, if you're in a boot camp program, definitely chat with alumni of the program. Definitely chat with alumni of the program, and see what path that they've taken, and take most positions that'll put your foot in the door. I think that you'll find. No, C and C++ are also considered low-level languages with relation to higher-level languages like Python, Java, etc. Maybe people have been using different terminology, but I've always used the term low-level programming languages, and I just did a quick Google search to make sure I wasn't getting things backwards. So, yeah, I would talk to alumni of the programs. I would take most jobs that get your foot in the door. One job that, I actually talked to, someone who's developing one of these programs, and they were saying about, would you consider a help desk role to be, a foot in the door? And I said, it really depends on what you're doing in that help desk role. I think that, if you're providing technical support, like true technical support, I've worked with some folks at my previous company that was developing IoT surveillance technology. Those folks were SSHing into boxes. They were running various system-level commands. Not only were they definitely capable of, more quote-unquote advanced technology-related jobs, but one of them we actually trained into a software developer eventually. They went from software quality analysis to being a software developer for a company, and that's awesome. And he did a great job, and from everything I can tell, he's still doing a great job in the industry. But that's not the same thing as like help desk in terms of, you know, handling escalations and, you know, just reading, you know, manual, you know, they say this, you say this responses. I'm not saying that that work's not valuable, but I wouldn't say it's technical experience or necessarily a prerequisite to working in like a security operations center or to, you know, do other jobs there. So I promise you, I used to be better at this game. I don't know what to say other than that. This has been a pitiful, unrehearsed playthrough. I will try to blame it on me being distracted, but I don't want to blame it on me being distracted because the chat's my favorite part of doing these streams. So, yeah, I would, be wary when people say that that's a, you know, a good prerequisite, because it may or may not be, depending on the role. And I probably, if you were doing the work on, you know, that I'm describing in the first half of this conversation, you know, the work that's like doing real technical troubleshooting, I would probably avoid using the term help desk, because, you know, there's baggage to that. There's baggage that it is a low-paying job that a lot of people without, you know, experience take, and whether or not that's warranted, and I personally don't think it is. I have a lot of friends who have gone down that path, that who I think are very smart, very professional, and, you know, have way more patience than I do to deal with, you know, angry customers, which is an entirely different skill set that is also valuable. But I wouldn't say it is inherently a good prerequisite to cybersecurity. So I hope that was a fair and balanced look at the situation, and that I didn't stereotype or anything like that, because, you know, I never, ever, ever want to belittle someone for their job experience. I always am here to help people go where they want to go with their careers, and I think that, generally speaking, I view a lot of potential in basically everybody. I think most people, given the right environment, given the right incentives, and given the right interests, are capable of incredible, great things. It's all about just putting those things all together. And my goal is to help people do that. Okay, now that we're out of that nightmarish level, hopefully the rest of the world is smooth sailing. So, Chowder Cake, what have you been up to in the technology field? Are you also in the same class as Ocean Haze? Or are you in the industry? Neither. Love to hear what you're up to and where you want to go from there. See if I can provide any valuable advice. As mentioned earlier, I have made some career pivots myself. I have not been in cybersecurity for that long, but I have a development background, which, you know, which has helped me transition to an application security kind of role. But I've also learned a tremendous amount over that time period. I don't know what's going on with that level, so I'm going to go to this one instead. Okay. I love this mechanic, by the way, of unfreezing the ice. I love it. There we go. Much better. Alright. Oh no. Great start. Okay, let's try to get this mushroom. And use that to get a leaf here. Maybe that'll be enough to make it through this dungeon. Whoops. So if you've been enjoying the conversation and you have been enjoying watching me flounder around in these levels, and you're in a development community, would definitely appreciate if you spread the word of what we're doing here, because I think it would be awesome to grow the channel, grow the conversation, get a myriad of get a myriad of perspectives from a variety of people. And another group that I definitely want to include with these kinds of broadcasts are folks who are maybe like younger, who are trying to find out what they want to do as a career, and maybe be influenced into trying out technology through, you know, these streams. One of my friends suggested that I should eventually play Minecraft on the stream, but I don't know. We'll see. Even though it's incredibly educational, even though Redstone is basically electrical engineering, I didn't grow up with the game. I only know a minimal amount about it, and I'm not very good at it. But it would definitely have that clientele checking the content out, and you know, if I can tell one kid, hey, the stuff that you're doing for fun in this game is a lucrative career, you know, that'd be awesome. I'm also really happy to say that we are pretty close to 100 followers, so hopefully we can cross that threshold shortly. I don't know when I got bad at playing video games. I really don't feel like I've if there's any singular event in my life that has made me bad at video games, but, you know, here I am. Why not? Let's use the hammer suit. Definitely my favorite power-up in the game. I'm not positive why. I mean, there's not really much to it. It's basically a fire flower that, you know, has an arc to it, but I don't know, something about it's just cool. And also looking like a Buzzy Beetle. No thanks. I didn't think that these hammers damaged, what's this? Iggy? Lemmy? It's one of those two. I think it's Iggy. I love how all the Koopalings are named after rock stars or other important media characters. It's really interesting that they did that. All right, 2 more worlds left. First up, what's this? What's this called? Even Pipe World, I think, maybe. So, for those who haven't seen it, there's an amazing way you can break the game in this level. It's hard for me to even describe as someone who has not reproduced the issue personally. But basically, there was a player who determined that you can actually perform arbitrary code execution on the stage based on the ways that these pipes work. And the end result is they were able to beat this game in like a couple minutes. Like less than 1 minute from this stage, you can get to the credits, which is crazy. But I don't think many, let's just put it that way, I don't think many human beings can reproduce that issue. I think the timing is fairly complicated to get down. Or maybe this is the level, maybe it's the level right after it now that I think about it. The one that has, it's either this one or the next one. I think it's this one, though. I think I'm mixing it up with the ones with the platforms that you can change the directions of. That level's cool and difficult. Man, a lot of the matching game has popped up. Darn. Okay. I know I'm contradicting myself immediately by saying that these levels are so memorable and then I forget the order in which they come, but, like, how can you forget a level like this? Where you have to create those blocks and then you have to bounce on them in order to get past. I mean, it's really memorable. The level designers in this game were unparalleled. What? I can't hurt those guys with the slide? Thought you could. My bad. Whoops. This is not how you're supposed to play this level. So here's the item that I was talking to you about before if you're not super familiar with the game. The Tanuki suit is basically like the leaf, plus you can do this weird move right here. And my genuine question for folks is, other than for the novelty, how many times have you used that in the game? Because it doesn't seem to be like a super useful asset in the game. Okay. I remember this level's like really difficult. This level is also kind of difficult, but less so maybe? Ah, yeah, you have to do this. Pretty sure I can slide underneath here? Maybe not. Let's go the other way. Okay, good to know. So for those who are just joining, I'm doing a Warpless run of Super Mario Bros. 3, and I'm answering anybody's questions about technology, programming, cybersecurity, etc. So feel free to send a message in the chat, and I'll, as quickly as possible, answer any questions you might have. What was the point of that? I'm trying to remember what the point of that level is. I mean, clearly... Can I knock out one of those plants with a hammer? Huh. Well, at least I have this frog suit now. Best item in the entire game, clearly. No, thank you. Thanks for the follow. I finally learned how to use the creator dashboard so I can see things in real time, which is nice. Oh, boy. Oh, no. I have an idea. Okay, well now I better not lose this level, so I'm gonna use a P block and a star. Let's watch me mess this up. Where am I supposed to be going here? I'm trying to remember. If I'm remembering right, this is actually a level where using the P block makes sense. Or the P wing makes sense. Maybe I'm supposed to go up here? Yep. There we go. Alright, bypassed that awful underwater level without a frog suit. So, I mentioned this in a... Oh yeah, this is the level I'm remembering, I think. I mentioned this before, but just another fun fact regarding, you know, the intersection between programming and early video games is you may notice that, you know, the Nintendo Entertainment System, I would argue probably one of the most popular gaming systems to ever be created, one of the most successful ones. You might find it interesting that there are exactly 8 buttons on that controller. A, B, start, select, up, down, left, right. Those are all the buttons that are available. Isn't it an interesting coincidence that those 8 buttons perfectly can be represented with a single byte of information, ergo 8 bits of information? Well, I don't think it's a coincidence. I think that that was very useful for them when programming the games. To be able to, you know, look at 1 byte of information and know the exact controller state. What am I supposed to do here? Aren't I... Oh, I'm supposed to go further. I see. See, yeah, when we say, you know, 8-bit systems, it's kind of interesting that two of the most popular ones, the Nintendo Entertainment System as well as the Game Boy, were both, you know, 8-button devices. Okay, so I think that's a red herring. I think I'm supposed to continue with this block. Yep. And now, I can go any which way. Awesome. This is a really cool concept for a level. Yeah, I know, I'm slow. So, on that subject, one cool thing we could talk about that's, you know, fairly... Hey, 1 second. These are levels I saw so rarely because I gave up and died a lot before getting to them as a kid. Absolutely, Bradley Earl. This is a quite... These stages are frustrating, to say the least. And I'm not playing them very well either. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm, like, completely hosed now. Is there anything I can do here? Other than die? I don't think so. Or the shot, or the shot. Friendly reminder for those folks who have Amazon Prime, ergo Twitch Prime. If you would like to support the channel and make sure that I do more of these events, you are able to subscribe to my channel for free and give me $2.50 by subscribing with Twitch Prime. And you can do that for any Twitch streamer once a month. So definitely much appreciated if you're able or willing to do so. So what I was going to mention before is I was thinking maybe I could talk a little bit about binary and how to count in binary, because I mentioned 8-bit numbers. So I guess the first thing you might be wondering is, you know, people say 8-bit all the time. What does 8-bit actually mean? 8-bit just means that data is transmitted in a series of 8 binary numbers, or bits. So what is a bit, is the follow-up question. Well, a bit is a 1 or 0. It is a binary digit, is one way to think of what a bit is. I don't know if that's what it stands for, but it happens to also be a binary digit. So, what can a binary digit do, okay? Well, a binary digit can do anything that any other kind of digit can do. I mean, we're so used to, as a society, 10-digit numbers, or sorry, base 10 numbers. So numbers that use a number system with 10 distinct numbers, 0 through 9. And the only reason we use that number system, the only reason that I think any sociologist will tell you, is we kind of landed on that because most humans have 10 fingers. So it's a very easy to count with system because you can use your hands. So that's not to mean that 8-bit numbers, or sorry, what am I saying? That's not to say that base 10 is any better than any other number system. In fact, there's really no reason why you have to count with 10 distinct numbers. You can use 2 numbers, and that's what binary is. Binary is simply representing numbers with 2 digits, 0 or 1. So how do you convert between binary and base 10 and backwards? Well, there's a general formula you can utilize for this. So If you take, oh my goodness. If you take a binary number, you can represent it. How do I describe this the best way? Well, let's start with counting in alternative number systems. I think that's the easiest one to explain. So how do you count with base 10? Well, I know this sounds very basic, but follow me here. I mean, really think about what is the process of counting. Well, you count from 0 to 1, 2, 3, and then you get all the way up to the maximum number that's out there, the maximum single-digit number that's out there, which is the number 9, okay? So what do you do to get from the number 9, the maximum digit that you have at your disposal, to the next number? Well, you zero out the first digit, and you put 1 to the left of it. So you go from 9 to 1, 0. And that first one, because it's in the tens place, represents the number 10. So another way of representing a number is by breaking it up into its constituent digits. Actually, why don't I just do this level, actually, now that I think about it? Can I just do this one? So let's say the number 15. 15 is the first digit, the 1, to the 10th power, times... Yeah, sorry, hold on. Let me make sure I got this right. It's 1 times 10 to the first power, ergo, it's 10, plus 5 to the 0th power, or 5 times 1, which is 5, so it's 10 plus 5. Okay, let me give you a better example with more numbers. Let's say you have the number 1,234. That is, let's go in the other direction. That's 4 times 10 to the 0th power, so 4, plus 3 times 10 to the first power, ergo 30, plus 2 times 10 to the 3rd power, aka 200, plus 1 times 10 to the 4th power, or 1,000. If you add all those numbers together, you get 1,234. Now let's take the same exact concept and talk about it in terms of having two numbers, okay? Well, let's say you're counting with two numbers, 0 and 1. Okay, you start out with 0, then you get to 1. Well, you've ran out of numbers, so what do? You decrement the first number, you zero it out, and you add 1 to the other side. So counting in binary is 0, 1, 10, 11, 100, 101, 110, 111, 1,000, 1,001, 1,010, 1,011, 1,100, 1,101, 1,110, 1,111, 10,000. Now I did that really fast, just to show that I could, but think about it. Every time you run out of numbers, you zero out everything to the right-hand side, and you add a 1 to the left. So you go from 0, 1. Okay, we ran out of numbers. I'm going to zero out the first digit, and I'm going to put 1 on the other side. So now I have 10. Okay, now I'm going to make it 11. I've ran out of digits. I'm going to zero out both of those and go to 100. Then I'm going to increment 101, 110, 111, 1,000. So how do you convert between those numbers and, base 10? Well, you can follow the same formula that we did from before, which is you can use that system of breaking up the numbers and multiplying them by their base to whatever position they're in. So the binary number 100 is equal to 1 to the second power, 1 times 2 to the second power, aka 4, plus, what did I say, 100? Let's do a better one. Let's do 111. 111 is 1 times 2 to the 0 power, aka 1, plus 1 times 2. I'm going to pause while I say this, because apparently I can't play video games and spell out a mathematical formula at the same time. And the concept is not nearly as difficult as it is to communicate. Okay. Binary 111 is equal to 1 times 2 to the 0th power, which is 1, because anything to the 0th power is 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. Then you add 1 times 2 to the first power, aka 2, so it's 1 plus 2. And then you add 1 times 2 to the second power, which is 4. So binary 111 is equal to 4 plus 2 plus 1, which is 7. So binary 111 is 7 base 10. So you can convert between those two number systems. Oh, well, I appreciate the kind words. Yes, it is difficult without a whiteboard, so maybe take some notes at home, or I need to invest in a whiteboard. So you can convert between those two number systems. You can also convert to any other number system. There are so many number systems out there, such as hexadecimal. You might be familiar with hexadecimal color codes. They're very popular in CSS or HTML. You can designate any basic color using hexadecimal code. What is hexadecimal? Hexadecimal is a number system that uses the numbers 0 through F. So it has 16 numbers. So it has all the numbers we're used to, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then it has A, B, C, D, E, F. So you have a total of 16 different numbers that you can work with. So why is hexadecimal so popular? Why is hexadecimal used in color codes, etc.? It's because 4 digits of binary map perfectly to a single digit of hexadecimal. So you can represent large binary numbers using hexadecimal in a very efficient way. For example, FF hexadecimal is equal to 255 decimal, which is equal to 11111111 binary. But you can see that you can fit a really long binary number into 2 digits of hexadecimal. So if you can memorize how hexadecimal, single digits of hexadecimal map to 4 digits of binary, you can very quickly convert between the two. So all computers really understand is binary, 1s and 0s, because those are really easy ways of representing on and off signals, which is all computers understand. They understand whether there's a signal or there's not a signal. So we have to work with binary numbers to work with computers, but those aren't very human readable. So hexadecimal is kind of a way that we can work with binary numbers without having ginormous numbers with all the formulas that we're dealing with. So now you know that when you have your controller, you can represent the inputs on your controller with an 8-bit number. Imagine a 1 signifying that you have a button pressed down, and a 0 signifying that you have a button released. Now you can represent a particular frame worth of input as a binary number, which is an 8-bit binary number, or a 2-digit hexadecimal. Sorry. Yeah, 2-digit hexadecimal number, yes. You can also represent it with a number between 0 and 255 in decimal, but that's not very easily mappable to anything that, humans can understand. So that's a little bit about number systems and bitages. So you might be wondering, okay, well, we have 16-bit games, in the Super Nintendo era, and how many buttons are on a Super Nintendo controller? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, what are you doing with those other 2 digits? Well, you don't have to do anything with those 2 digits. The point is that a 16-bit number system, a 16-bit memory system can represent input on a controller with 12 buttons. Maybe some of those bits aren't being used, but that's fine. All the bitage of a system means is how it stores memory in a particular memory address. It's just the minimum unit that you want to be working with, basically. So, 16-bit numbers, 16-bit systems are able to work with amounts of data between 0 and 65,535 very easily, while, Nintendo Entertainment System can deal with a number between 0 and 255 very easily. I mentioned hexadecimal color codes. That's another thing that's interesting that may be relatable. Does anybody know why FFFFFF is the hexadecimal color code for white, and why 000000 is the one for black? Well, it turns out that the reasoning is because the hexadecimal color code represents 3 different numbers: the red value, the green value, and the blue value of any particular color. So a hexadecimal number is going to represent how much red, how much green, and how much blue you have in a particular color. Now, for those who have worked in art, you'll know that when it comes to natural light, if you combine all colors together, if you maximize all colors, if you I'm not sure how to best describe this, but all colors together come out as white. And that's why when you maximize red, green, and blue, you get white. FFFFFF represents 255, 255, 255. And that's the maximum amount of each color. Another way to think about it is if you've ever taken a prism and you put natural light through that prism, what do you get? You get a rainbow, because natural white light translates into all sorts of colors, every color. So if you think about it that way, you can understand what each color is very easily. If you have FF0000, that's red. You have the maximum amount of red. You have 0 blue. You have 0 green. 00FF00 is green. 0000FF is blue. And then everything else is a combination. So that's where most of the colors that you see on the internet come from. They come from those 3 values. So you can represent... How many colors can you represent with that? You can represent more than 65,535, because that would be 16 bits of information, which would just be 2 values. So it's somewhere... It's like... I guess that means that it must be 24-bit color. I think that's right. 24-bit color. So, and that's just a system that someone made. Like, there's no inherent value to these numbers, but we've decided that we can represent colors using this RGB system. Let's map these numbers to those colors. That's all there is to it. For those at home who are thinking, man, this person's such a nerd, you're absolutely correct. That is a very valid description of what I am. But hey, it's a good career. Got lucky there. Let's see if I can actually beat this level in the first shot, and then I won't have to play those levels. The odds of that are tremendously low. Case in point, my best shot is out the window now. Oh, another thing I should share related to this game directly is if you look on my YouTube channel, which you should totally subscribe, we're almost at we're almost at 5,000 subscribers, is I did a video where I experimented to see how many button presses are necessary to beat this game. Very weird thing and random thing to try, but it was a fun little experiment, and it turns out that I think this game can be beaten in like 300 button presses or something. So a button press is counted as any time you release a button and you press a button. So if you look on my YouTube and you look up Super Mario Bros. 3 minimum button presses, you can see how we were able to determine that using tools. And it was kind of fun. Fun little experiment. I was trying to create a new category of tool-assisted speedruns. Some people thought it was interesting, some people thought it was fun, but the website decided that it made minimal sense for it to be included on the main publication listings, which I understand. It's a completely different way of evaluating a game. So, you know, it's fun, it's interesting, but it's not necessarily the right forum for it. I hope that in the future we find a game that is so entertaining to watch in that format that it's just like, you know, it actually gets published. But Super Mario 3 was not that game. It was better than Super Mario 1, and a lot of people enjoyed it, but it wasn't like, you know, nearly as entertaining as the mainline tool-assisted speedruns, and I had to admit that in the end. Of course I messed that up. Golly. Bradley Girl, I appreciate the positive feedback and the follow. Are you a developer? Someone in technology? I'm just curious. Because if you were able to follow that, it seems that you must have a good amount of experience. It's definitely not a very easy concept to absorb. Ooh, this is a fun little secret that I'll show off. This was instrumental to the minimum button presses run. This right here. Oh, that was the end of the level? For some reason I thought there was more to it. I guess I warped past a lot of it. You're a self-taught website maintenance person, but I went to Georgia Tech and got hooked on science YouTube early. Cool. I mean, if you're maintaining a website, I think that's certainly serious. I mean, you know, obviously we can all improve our skill sets, but make sure not to sell yourself short. If, you know, if everybody, you know, was honest about their skill levels, you wouldn't have, like, any leaders in the technology space. I mean, I'm still learning all the time. I'm still learning constantly. I've been in cybersecurity for, like, you know, full time for, like, a year and 2 weeks, basically. Not true, actually. That's, like, more like a year and 2 months. And yet, I just wrote a course on cybersecurity. Sometimes you have to just, you know, sell your skills in the way that they are. I mean, you know, everybody's learning. Technology's so new. think I was supposed to do that. I think I'm supposed to go here and then not fall down this pit like I did, but it is what it is. So are you, yeah, we all do Google everything. That is the secret in our industry is, you know, the best developers are good at Googling. And I think that, you know, we make fun of it a lot, but I think at the same time, people don't always recognize that Googling is actually a skill, and you can be better or worse at Googling. You know, you have to know how to find the things that you need to find very quickly. Anybody who memorizes, you know, every single function in every single language they work with, I don't trust them. They're absurd to do that. But I do expect a good developer to be able to find what they need very quickly. And that's not trivial in the slightest. Sometimes you can't just Google things. Sometimes if you're, you know, especially if you're studying something, you know, that isn't well documented, you have to be able to Google for source code and then read the source code, because there is no existing analysis. You know, and that's difficult, but, you know, I wouldn't expect most developers to do that. I would expect that, you know, out of like a senior dev, I suppose. Because so much is already so documented. That's where the P-block is. Wait, that wasn't it. Was it? No. Oh, idiot. I froze up. So yeah, what are your interests going forward? Are you wanting to stay with the kind of yeah, the sideway thwomps are definitely death. Are you trying to stay within the kind of work that you're doing? Are you more interested in science? Are you interested in doing technology work that you may consider more serious? What's your career path that you're thinking about? Because that's what I'm trying to be here to do. I'm trying to help people, you know, in these times to make the most of this downtime we have, and, you know, learn new skills. I'm certainly learning a lot of new skills in this time. Okay, I think I'm remembering what's going on now. Okay, so I go here. Always wanted to get better at building things with code, noticing how many different branches the web went into. Oh, it's a bit discouraging. Can you elaborate? Oh man, the door's right here. Oh no, that's not the right door. Sorry. Can you elaborate a little bit more when you say that there's all these branches that have been going on? Oh, this is awful. I'm doing a terrible job. All of the branches that exist, can you specify? Because, you know, it may sound overwhelming, but I think, I don't know, I feel like there's only a handful of real topics out there, you know? Front-end development, back-end development, which you can use the same language for. Desktop development, mobile development, you could also use that same language. JavaScript is at this point, universal language. I think you use the platforms that would... Oh, sorry, I need to focus real quick before I read that message. Oh, here. No. Yes, that's the door I have to go through, and then I have to go through the coins. I think I'm on the right track. Oh yeah, no, a lot of platforms have been dropped off, but yeah, I think that's definitely true. But I think, you know, the web has largely consolidated around certain large platforms. I think that's part of it. But the good thing about that is these platforms all have, you know, extensibility to them. Like, people can extend the functionality of Twitch, of YouTube, of Facebook, etc. I mean, one of my first gigs was making Facebook applications, and that just, you know, showed how you can have this open platform for development. So, you know, a lot of things succeed, a lot of things fail, but I think, you know, the industry more or less has gotten better throughout the process. I like it that I can know one language and get everything done if I choose so. That's kind of nice. I don't have to know a second language. I saw a great quote from Kelsey Hightower yesterday, I believe, that said, the best programming language is the one that you know, and would 100% agree with that statement. Learning a bunch of new languages just for the sake of learning them is not particularly productive. It's important to understand how to take the tool you are familiar with and to make it something, you know, and sculpt what you need out of it. Okay, am I just misremembering how any of this works? Oh, it was that door. Yeah, I mean, I know people rag on PHP. PHP is a programming language. I mean, no one could say that PHP is not a programming language. It's a bad programming language, arguably, but it's a programming language. So, I mean, you can learn quite a bit using PHP. Oh my goodness. I just have to jump. Just jump. When you get through the door, just jump. You fool. I mean, PHP was the main language that I learned off of. I mean, I'm not proud of that statement, but it's true. Facebook applications were commonly written in PHP. Most of the internet was written in PHP when I got started. So, yeah, I mean, it's a language. You just have to know what's good about it, what's bad about it. I definitely think you can take the knowledge that I'm sure you've accumulated with with JavaScript and apply that to the back end. So that's another strategy you can take, because back-end JavaScript development is becoming huge nowadays with Node.js. You can even make desktop applications with Electron, or... I'm so bad at this game. This is terrible. This is so bad. Python's another language that I think is valuable to branch off of. I mean, okay, so yes, I appreciate the encouragement. I appreciate that, you know, you think that this level is difficult. But, you know, this game, I've beaten it so many times, I should be better than this. You know, I should remember it, first of all. I used to, you know, be able to blast through this. No, of course. Love to have these conversations. I really, you know, the main thing I want to do with this channel is to, oh my, what is that? That's not even the right path, right? I shouldn't do that. My main goal is to help people develop in their career. I'm thinking about skipping this level and seeing if I can get away with that. Oh, is that not even a choice? No, it is. It is. Yeah, yeah. So now all I have to do is beat this level without getting hit once. Feel pretty optimistic about this. But yeah, I mean, if you like this and you have other folks that you think could benefit from this kind of material, either people who are trying to make a career switch, folks who are in college, or maybe younger folks that are trying to decide, you know, what they want to do with their life and, you know, like video games. The most appreciated thing that can be done is if you would share this, you know, channel. We're almost at 100 subscribers, or not subscribers, that'd be ridiculous. 100 followers, and yeah, I'm really hoping this concept gets a little bit bigger. We could have more awesome conversations. I can't ever tell what brings folks into these sessions. I've been advertising that I'm going to be doing Saturday runs pretty consistently, but oddly enough, the ones that I do randomly on a whim during the week sometimes do better, so it's very odd. The one I did on Tuesday was very active. So yeah, I have no idea, no clue. But I'm relatively new to the online media game. I have a YouTube channel that I'm trying to revive in this process. But you know, whenever you go from one concept, which is just general gaming, to another concept, it takes a while to build up an audience. So, you know, at the end of the day, I really appreciate that folks are taking the time to invest in themselves and to enjoy this content on a random Saturday. And you know, if I really add value to one individual, you know, it's more valuable than, you know, to me than adding a lot of, you know, a minimum amount of value to, you know, hundreds of people. We are on the final stage, for those who are not aware. Nope. This is what I was looking for. Yes. Excellent. Can I go from here to here? I know I'm supposed to be able to jump up there, but I'm not getting enough of a start. Got nothing of use. I just gotta wing it. Have you investigated in any particular language and struggled with it or got something good out of it, just out of curiosity? Alright, here's the big boss. Can I beat him with no power-ups? Probably not, but we'll see. Close. Oh, that was not expected at all. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. I was really close. 1 up. Cool. Forgot that was there. Alright. I think to play it safe, I'm going to need to get that mushroom. That's not how you do it. That's for sure. That's not how you do it. Six or 7-year-old me would be looking at me playing this game right now and just shaking his head. Like, man, I grew up to be so bad at video games. Problem is that my palms are sweaty at this point. Knees weak, arms heavy, all of that jazz. As iconic as the Nintendo controller is, it may not be the most ergonomic design of all time. So impatient. That was inexcusable. I did so good up until that point. Thanks for those who are sticking around. Maybe you're in it for the Schadenfreude or whatever, but I appreciate it regardless. So, The moral of the story is I need to quit programming so that I can focus my energy on not being so terrible at video games. I have clearly grown soft. Go for it. Obviously, I don't have a choice. All right, round 2. Kind of interesting to me how they made the final boss so different than all the other ones. I mean, this is a completely different concept than all the Koopalings. What? I waited long enough, I thought. There we go. Glad to see this was not a Sigma kind of situation where 2 hours later I still haven't completed the game, or the level, I should say. It has been 2 hours since I started this Warpless run, but yeah. Definitely not here for accuracy. Definitely not a speedrunner anymore, if I ever was one. So, for those who enjoyed this, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, bell, all that stuff. But really, if you could follow the channel, that'd be great. I'd love to bring this to a larger audience. You can subscribe for free with Twitch Prime. I don't expect anything beyond that because, you know, we're in a global world event and I'm, you know, doing all right financially, so I don't want anybody who's not in that situation to even consider giving their actual money. But Jeff Bezos' money is nice. If you'd like to give me some of his via your Twitch Prime account, I'd be more than happy to accept. And let me know what game you'd like me to play next. I kind of ran out of the games that I definitely want to play. I wanted to do one game of a different series each Saturday to, you know, diversify the amount of people who would check it out. But I'll have to think about it. I might just play Mega Man X3 next Saturday because I just love the Mega Man X series so much. I might also just play the Mega Man Classic series. That might be what I do next week, is I just play Mega Man's 1 through 3, then maybe the following Saturday I play Mega Man's 4 through 6, then maybe 7 and 8. So I'll think about it a little bit, but thank you so much for those who came out to talk about technology and watch me play games for a bit of your Saturday afternoon. So I appreciate you coming out. I'll probably archive this on YouTube, so you can check it out there if you want to review anything, especially my discussion before about how binary works. And until next time, take care.